Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and wherever you are in the country, I hope you are warm. Our guest today, Jeff Rodman, you're going to meet him in a minute. He's the Executive Director of NELMS, the the New England League of Middle Schools, but really going for the whole Northeast as well. We'll talk about that with Jeff. He's in Maine, freezing. I'm here in New York, Pennsylvania, freezing. Florida had snow today, crazy. So I hope you're warm and I hope you're surviving and thriving. We're going to meet Jeff in a minute, but a quick word from today's sponsor, IXL.
I'd like to thank IXL for sponsoring today's podcast. Over 1 million teachers use IXL in their classroom every day. IXL is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It empowers schools with complete curriculum, thousands of instructional resources, robust reporting, assessment data, and more. It saves teachers a lot of valuable time with ready-made plans aligned to the standards and the textbooks. Built-in engagement tools like custom competitions make learning fun for students. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your students towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, appreciate IXL sponsoring today's podcast.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. And again, as an educator, I'm sure you've heard of IXL. Definitely check them out. Click on that link in the show notes. Let's get started. Before we get to Jeff, our opening statement, our opening concept here is about conferences. It's January 2025 as we record this. Thank you to our live viewing audience. If you are live, say hello, jump in. Let us know whether you're coming from New England, Texas, California, wherever you are. Say hello. But it's January. Do you have a conference scheduled? Where are you going for your state organization, a national organization, your regional event? Where are you going? NELMS, again, the New England League of Middle Schools, is hosting their conference March 24th and 25th. And I'm super excited to be involved with them. It's in Springfield, Massachusetts. So for all of New England and really all of the Northeast, including Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York, that's easy to get to. We are going to be Monday and Tuesday in Springfield, Massachusetts. So why come? Why do we need to go as a leader and educator? Why do we need to go? I got 5 quick reasons here. Number one, learn something, right? You might go to a session. There's a million sessions. Jeff said, I think it's in the 70s. There's so many sessions. You might learn something new that you could use in your job. You might get a new tool. You might get a new prop. You might get a new story. Maybe it'll really excite you, get you going. So number one, learn something. Number two, network. You might meet a neighboring educator, principal in your neighboring school. Make a connection. Maybe they got something that could help you and your school community, connecting with people, sharing each other on social media. Fantastic. Number three, recharge. Recharge your batteries, right? We refuel over and over every morning. Refuel our coffee, our vitamins. We get go, boom, boom, boom. We're constantly refueling. Well, this will give you a chance to recharge, catch your breath, get maybe a little extra sleep, maybe, sleep without interruption, the dog, this and that, things like that. Number four, perspective. Someone might ask you or challenge you to think about something differently or look at something differently. You might have been suspending kids a certain way, or you might have been teaching a reading program a certain way. Well, now they might show you something different, and it might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's good to get a different perspective on things. Maybe you come out of there a little bit, again, looking at things differently. And number five, have some fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to, you got to laugh and smile. It's education. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun for the kids, and it's supposed to be fun for the adults. So we're going to have some fun there as well. So check out NELMS. Their website is in the show notes. And again, whether it's the NELMS Conference or somewhere else, definitely go to a conference here in 2025. They recharge the batteries. And I'm really proud to be part of the conference there with NELMS. So enough of me talking. Let's get to the start of the show here. The executive director coming to us from Maine here, Jeff Rodman. Jeff, welcome.
It's great to be here, Andrew. Thank you for having me. And I'm really excited about the conference and listening to you talk about your 5 reasons to attend a conference. I had actually written down some things myself of why, people should attend a conference and the reasons why I attended conferences and love what we do at NELMS. And I had almost the same list as you had. It was really cool, like learning new ideas, and they're inspirational, networking, collegiality, and not just energizing, but re-energizing. And then getting excited about those last couple of months of the year when things start to drag out and you just finished up state testing and all that other stuff that, our conference really inspires people. And when they leave, it is so exciting to see people when they come to our conference, and particularly when they leave the conference, and the energy that they have.
100%. Good points there, Jeff. This is Jeff Rodman, everyone, the executive director of NELMS, longtime school leader, long time. Jeff, one of the things I hear from principals and assistant principals is, I can't leave the building. I can't leave the building. You were a principal for 24 years. Did you feel that guilt? Did you say like, I can't leave, or how did you do it?
You do feel it, and it's important to be. I always felt it was important to be in the building, and even if we had like an administrative meeting, at the high school or at the superintendent's office, I'm like, oh my God, I hate being out of my building. But knowing that I have quality people who are from assistants to teacher leaders to teachers who didn't really realize that they were leaders yet, that were there, that could take care of the building. And I thought it was important for me to get out of the building, to go to workshops, to go to conferences, for those same reasons that we had talked about right at the beginning of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And delegating, right? That's a good point there. Well, let's get started here, Jeff. Again, it's great to have you on. Jeff, 24 years as a principal, 23 in the middle school. God bless you. It's hard enough, let alone 23 years at the middle school level. How did you do it?
And I just want to add, that doesn't include the 17 that I spent as a teacher in middle school.
And you still got your hair. It's unbelievable.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I was figuring it out this afternoon, and I will have completed, 48 years in education at the end of 2025. But it was interesting that I spent 17 years as a middle school teacher. Then I got into administration. I had the good fortune of being an assistant principal up at a high school in Vermont. And as much as I enjoyed it, I miss working with middle level students and middle level faculty and all the things that go along with the young adolescent and the pre-adolescent and the emerging adolescent, how they can be molded and supported, and that I felt that was the best fit for me. So it was never being a middle school principal for 23 of those years was just every day was exciting. Every day was different. And, seeing students and the changes that they're going through physically, socially, emotionally, and that I could actually, hopefully, have a part in helping them in their path, towards not being young adults, but being older adolescents, because I think that's an important piece that we have to remember about middle school. So I look forward to every day. And some days were harder, but I cherish the experience that I had.
Wow. And you have to want to be there, right? Some people go running away from the middle school. It's awesome to hear that. So what are some things that stand out to you, Jeff? Like when you think back, like, oh yeah, that food fight, or this kid who did this. What are some things that stand out to you?
I think one of the really cool things that stand out was the opportunities when I had opportunities to work with students. And I know it's different from being a teacher than being an administrator, but in our school plays and musicals, particularly in my last school in Kennebunk, I always had a part in the school play, and it gave me a chance to know the students better, and it gave the students to see me in a different light also. Like, I played Franklin Roosevelt a couple of times in Annie, and I was in The Wizard of Oz with the students, and Peter.
Were you the wizard?
No, I just had a small part there, but it was. I think I was like a flying monkey or something. And the kids like got to see me in a whole different light, and I think it made my relationship with the students closer. And even the ones who weren't in the play, when that would come to the play would see it, and I think that was really important. So those were the highlights, some of the highlights, and there were just so many. And then I think a highlight is any time that I will go into a store or see a former student and they still remember me as their principal and have a positive memory of that is really kind of a nice thing. And that happens often. So
Yeah,
appreciate that.
for sure. Our one of our principals here was just the dog catcher in 101 Dalmatians, and I loved seeing it. And
Mhm.
it's funny to hear you say that, because I've heard a lot of principals or teachers say, it's all about the kids. I don't want to take the spotlight away from the kids, but I look at it like what you said. They get to see you. It's a different chance to make those relationships. I agree with what you said.
Yeah, and it's just like it weren't big parts, just being a part of it, and that they would see you being willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
And and for some of the students, particularly boys, that I don't want to be in theater. When they would see me as the principal doing it, it kind of helped them, get into theater and doing things. And I was never a theater person growing up. I mean, it was 100% athletics. So it was, stepping out on that stage was like, whoa, that's really, stepping out of my comfort zone.
Jeff, one of the things that drove me nuts at the middle school, I was there principal, not as long as you were, but for a short time. They're constantly touching each other, constantly putting their hands on each other. How did you manage those wacky middle school behaviors and the little things they did to needle each other and all those things?
I think, we have to accept that they are middle school, they are adolescents, and you put 400 or 500 or 800 in one building together, like it kind of creates it. And it's funny, I kind of came to me that I think we need to understand that it's developmentally appropriate for young adolescents to do inappropriate things. And it's just getting them to understand that you can't continue to do these things. And that's where we see the growth. And they realize that at different times, because they're all different. But we have to expect that. We have to accept it. And then just work with them and say, Andrew, it's, you can't keep doing this. Andrew, it's time to stop doing that. Andrew, what's the better way of handling this than what you've done? But just, accepting the fact and expecting that those things are going to happen in school, particularly in middle school.
Yeah. You must have spoken to my principal, because you sounded pretty much like them.
I hope that's a good
give a shout out to our friend Nathan Pierce up there in Massachusetts. Big supporter of NELMS and you, and happy with the connection here. So Nathan, thanks for your support for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jeff, a long career, right? We can't be perfect all the time. What are some things maybe you look back, I wish I would have, whether it was a mistake or whether it was maybe a regret? Like, I wish I did more of this or not as much as this.
That was a good question. It's a really good question. And I think that I probably left every afternoon or evening and saying, boy, I wish I had done that today. And I think there are some students that I wish that I had better relationships with. I think I think one of the most challenging things to do is to let a teacher know that they will not be returning next year, and that maybe I could have done or should have done something better to support those teachers, because they got into teaching for a reason. I mean, that's their livelihood, and they wanted to be good teachers, and they were struggling either with content or with making connections with students, or the fit just wasn't right, and having to, say to them, we're going to have to make a change there. That was hard, and should I have done a better job with those teachers? And then also understanding that my first responsibility is to the students of those schools, and I have to provide them the best opportunity and have the best person in those spaces and classrooms.
Yeah, well said there. And again, it goes to your leadership. They weren't doing the job, and you're looking at it. Well, what could I have done to make that better? You're looking at that. But I love the point about the kids, right? You say, would I want my kid in their classroom, my own child?
Mhm.
It's like you want to treat them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hard thing.
So that was, it's a regret, because not that it happened often, but there were times where I had to say that, particularly, to a young person who is just getting going, and saying, I, I should have done more to help. So that's a regret.
Yeah. Number of people watching live, Jeff. Friends, jump in, say hello. Let us know where you're watching from, and throw a question in there for Jeff as well. Jeff, you mentioned young teachers. Well, what about a young principal? What about a new principal? They just made it halfway through their first year. They're surviving. What would you say to that rookie principal who might be tuning in now, who is hanging on by a thread? It's January. They're praying for a snow day because they're so exhausted. What would you say to that new principal? Some advice for them.
Keep praying for more snow days. No, I think it's like developing patience, and that don't try to make, historic changes right away. Make sure that you're visible, in the building, in the classrooms, at events. Believe in helping out. There's a book called Servant Leadership, and I think that's something that I paid particular attention to, is making sure. I always felt that I was there to serve not just the students, but to the staff also, and that I would help out in classrooms, and I would, take, if a teacher needed to step out of the classroom or to leave early to go to an appointment, that I'll do it. I'll come in there. It gives me an opportunity to get to know the students better. But I think it's visibility is a key point for, not just new administrators, but for veteran administrators as well. But I would say a new principal, those who are just starting off, is be patient and don't be afraid to ask for help. If you have another, middle school in your community, or if you have a mentor, reach out, and because you can't expect to know all the answers, and to be upbeat, be positive, always smile, even in the most challenging of times. There are positives that are happening in your building.
Great answer there, Jeff. 100%. And like you said, to talk to that, ask a question. Well, the conference, the NELMS conference, is the spot to do that. You're going to get people from similar schools in a similar region. That's one of the things that can happen at the conference. So let's shift gears to the conference here, Jeff. Is this the biggest event that you run as executive director? Is it the biggest thing that you have to do in this role?
Far and away.
Yeah.
Our big sources, to keep our organization afloat, our big sources of revenue are memberships and our annual conference. And we are really excited about the conference. And it, as you mentioned at the beginning, top of the show, that it's in Springfield. It's so centrally located. We have 4 keynotes, and from a variety of different topics. And one of them happens to be Andrew Murata, that we are really excited about having you there. But we have 70 plus concurrent sessions. on a variety of topics. We have 6 different strands, from leadership to the toolbox to social emotional learning and other areas. But that is by far our biggest event. We have an events coordinator who she and I worked very hard putting this together. I have a great new assistant executive director, Dr. Tim Allen, was a middle school principal in the Springfield area and now is a professor at American International College, Springfield. And no, we have a great group. We're a nonprofit organization run by a board of directors. So my job is to kind of support the board of directors and making sure that we're continuing to move forward in what we do. So we have in addition to the conference, we have a lot of other programs and services that we offer.
Nice. It's March 24th, 25th. Just go to the NELMS website. You can register there. Jeff, we got some special guests watching. My good friend Lori Bidding from Bureau Valley. Maybe she'll jump in the car from Illinois and drive over. And my mom is watching, Jeff, so I got to be on my best behavior.
You better be on your best behavior.
That's right. That's right. But along with mom watching, Jeff, I know it's got to be a bully-free zone at the NELMS conference. I'm coming in as a New Yorker. I mean, is there going to be some jibbing and jabbing about the team up in New England there, the baseball team and the New York Yankees? Is there going to be some? I mean, do I need to be prepared for that?
Absolutely. And actually, the chair of our board of directors, who's from Springfield, Dr. Pete Gillen, who is the principal at West Springfield Middle School, he's a Yankees fan and a New York Giants fan. So, I mean, and Tim Phelan from Connecticut, it's, I mean, we see a lot of, positive things that we can agree upon when it comes to middle school stuff. But when it comes to our pro sports teams, some of us are diehard Red Sox fans, Celtics, Bruins, Patriots. So, yeah.
There could be just a small number of folks up there, maybe.
But hey, but I know we're the New England League of Middle Schools, but we do have people that have attended our conference from as far away as Maryland in the past, and we would like to think of ourselves as the Northeast League of Middle Schools, and and that we can provide a great service. And there's so much positive energy at our conference. I come out every year, even though I'm a retired principal, I feel energized, inspired by the programs that we have to offer. And it's a very affordable conference. It's easy to get to. The Sheridan Springfield is a great venue, and they have been so good to us. And I'm looking forward to it. And I would hope that if anybody has any questions, and again, being coming from outside New England, you are welcome guests at our conference.
New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and even as far as Maryland, it's an easy drive. We hope to see you there. Jeff, are you able to enjoy it? Are you able to absorb it, or are you going from this one? You're checking this is working. You're checking everything is right. Are you able to enjoy it, or are you working the whole time?
I do both. I work it, and I want everything to be great. And I have to remember that it's just like school. Not everything works out perfectly. But, even though I'm working the whole conference, I'm really enjoying the conference. I'm actually doing a session myself on people who are aspiring to be middle level leaders or, administrators. And I get to do it with a couple of colleagues with them, and we get a pretty good turnout there. And it's just kind of going through those steps of what it's like, as we talked about earlier about being a new administrator. And even though it's a challenge, it's hard work, it can be really rewarding and fun. And I always wanted school to be fun. I want our conference to be fun too. And that it's upbeat. We have some really exciting things planned this year. It's our 50th anniversary as an organization. It's our 44th annual conference. And we have on Monday evening, right across the street, we're going to have a great gathering to celebrate our 50 years as an organization. So we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Awesome. It's going to be a great event there. It's fantastic. Jeff, let's switch it back to you a little bit. Again, a long time in education, but you're also a heck of an athlete. You played sports through college, Dakota State. How did a guy from New England get out to Dakota State? And tell me about your journey as a football player.
That's a really good question. When I was in high school, I wanted to play college football. And one of our assistant coaches, I grew up just outside of Boston in a suburban Boston school. But one of our assistant coaches had gone to Dakota State out in Madison, South Dakota. And like both my parents were blue collar workers. My mom's actually stayed home and raised 6 kids.
Wow.
And my dad he worked in a supermarket. So neither of them had gone to college. I had an older sister who commuted to college. I had an older brother who kind of was struggling through school. So he didn't go to college. So there really wasn't like, you need to do this, you need to do that. So this assistant coach had kind of taken me under his wing and said, have you thought about going to school out in the Midwest? He said, they love having people from the East there. And he said, you may have a chance of playing some, and it'd be a great opportunity for you. So I talked to my parents about it, and they were like, okay, if that's where you want to go, that's okay. So actually, sight unseen, and August 27th, 1973, my parents put me on a plane heading for South Dakota. And I tell people that I cried twice when I was in college, first day and last day. My first day I was so scared because I'd never been away from home before. And
they didn't go with you, right? Were you by yourself?
No, I was by myself. On a plane and, sent me out there. And I was scared, and I got there. I was actually a week late for fall camp because I was working at a summer camp back home. So I got there a week late, and it was a Sunday afternoon, and the coach picked me. Actually, the head coach picked me up at the airport, and we're driving, and he was telling me all about that they had been there for the week, and that we're going to get uniforms. So you have a practice. It was a Sunday night. He said, we have an evening practice, no pads. We're just going to go out there, but you're going to get your equipment. So we go out, I get my equipment, and on Sunday we go out on the practice field, and there's 2 groups. There's a group of about 60, 65 guys, and there's a group of 1. And that 1 was me because I didn't know a soul. I didn't know what was going on. And then, the coach gets us together. And he says, boys, come on in. Let's get together. He said, I want to introduce you. We have a new player on our team. It's Jeff Rodman, and he hails from Boston, Massachusetts. Let's all welcome Jeff. Dead silence. I was like, oh, my God. And then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, one guy says, hey, welcome, Jeff. Glad to have you here. This guy went on to become my best friend for the next 4 years.
Wow.
And it was hard. I mean, being away from home, being at a small school in South Dakota, seeing like these, just like driving from the airport to the school is just cornfield and cows and cornfield and cows. And it was really, I'd never seen anything like it. And fortunately, after the 3rd game of the season, I got to start as a freshman. Wow. And played for the next 4 years, and it was a great journey. It was hard. I was far from the best athlete on the field, but I always wanted to just prove myself by working as hard as I possibly could at being the best that I could.
What a story about your best friend there. That is fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Wow. And did you folks listen to the games on the radio? I mean, there was no internet back then.
It was small. It was small time stuff. My parents came out my sophomore, junior, and senior year.
Okay, so they got to see you play.
Yeah, and
Nice.
and it was exciting, and I got to play all 4 years, and it was it was a pretty successful. We had great teams, great chemistry, and great coaching.
Yeah. Well, and you must have done pretty great too. You're being very humble, but you were the first student athlete there to have your number retired, and only one out of two total there. So you must have done pretty well. What was that like for you to have your number retired?
I was I had no idea. I got a call from, after my senior year, the season was over, and finishing up student teaching and getting ready for the second semester and my final semester in school. I got a call from the football coach's secretary saying, are you going to be at the basketball game tonight? And I said, sure, I always go to the basketball games, and said, make sure you dress nicely and be prepared, because the coach wants you to make sure that you're at the game. And I think she was telling me, make sure you guys aren't drinking before.
No beers at the game.
Oh yeah, just be at the game. So I did, and it caught me by surprise. And at halftime of the game, he had told those people in attendance that my number was being retired, and that invited me to join him. And it was a nice little ceremony, and it still hangs there today. Yeah, I didn't expect it. I had a really good senior year, but as a team, we had a really great senior year, and I would like to think that it was a collection. Even though it was my number, it was all the guys that I played with and worked with for 4 years, or even just a 1 year, that had a part of that happening.
Beautiful stories there. Great to hear that. And you think about what we do as kids for our own children now. I just had my third visit with my daughter to pick a college. We've been there 3 times with her, and she finally chose UNC Wilmington. My daughter was thrilled. But here you are, sight unseen, and get on the plane in South Dakota.
And I love going back there, and there are all the changes, and I try and get back for homecoming. And I just had a conversation with a friend and teammate the other day, and it's important, because as we get older, how many more times can we get together?
That's right.
And, I get emotional about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Great. I developed great friendships from that. I've developed great friendships. My teaching experience in Southeastern Massachusetts and the different schools that I've been in, and I value all of the opportunities that I've had in my life. I consider myself to be a pretty lucky guy. I've had some great experiences.
Beautiful. Jeff, as a former athlete, I took a lot of lessons from my time on the court, basketball, into my life as a school leader. What did you take from the football field, good and bad, into the role as a leader and a dad and the work you're doing? What were some things you took with you?
Well, I think just hard work. Keep working, and you're going to have, that it's great to win, and you learn from winning, and you learn great lessons from losing also, and to be, I think be humble in winning, be respectful in losing, and and knowing that things don't always go well. But I had some great mentors that helped me learn those lessons. The high school football coaches. My college football coach was an incredible mentor and support of me, and learned how to work hard. And we did not always agree. And I think his expectations, particularly, after my freshman year, I think he expected more out of me than I expected myself, and pushed me further than I ever thought that I could be pushed. And I think things turned out well. So I think, hard work, never give up. There's always opportunities to learn, to be, again, as I said, to be humble in victory, and to be respectful in defeat.
I like it. Shout out to Joel Swisher, Dr. Swisher, and your high school coach, Steve Silva. Great to hear these stories, and here you are leading all these years later from the lessons they gave you a long time ago. Beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Steve Silva is an interesting story. He's unfortunately, Dr. Swisher has passed away, but Steve Silva, he lives down in Nashville now, but he just finished a book that he struggled with his weight most of his adult life, and then was able, through hard work and dedication, he became a runner of tall buildings. Like, he broke the record for the fastest time of running the Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower. And so he has done all these great things in his life. And he was, very, very heavy, and would consider, I don't know if it's morbidly obese or obesity, but was able to work and, became a great athlete, and probably was always a good athlete, but, struggled with the weight, and then becoming a runner. And so he just, like, a funny thing happened on the way to the Eiffel Tower is his new book.
Oh, man.
He was like a Guinness Book of World Record, a stair climber. That's what I'm thinking of. And so, I still keep in touch with him, and I owe so much of that because he's the one who got me to go to school at Dakota State. Yeah, I've learned so many great lessons in my life, and not just from them, but from my the principals that I worked for when I was a young educator, and hopefully I can share some of those, like, stories and things that I have with the people that I have worked with, and maybe hopefully I have.
Yeah, absolutely. Get me connected with that Coach Silva. I'd love to hear that story. And I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, let's get him on here. We'll celebrate that book and do that. Jeff, I'm coming to NELMS. I got a lot of props. I got a lot of stuff. And one of the things I got is a genie lamp here. And I'm going to give you a wish, Jeff. You got a wish here. I'm going to wish this genie. What do you wish for educators? What do you wish for middle school educators, whether they're teachers, first year, 30th year? What do we need in education for this thing to really continue on in a positive way? Because we're in a tough spot. Education is changing. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of visibility, as you talked about earlier, but social media scrutiny. Here's your wish. I'm giving you a wish. What are you wishing for educators everywhere?
I wish that if I could have that wish, was that I use the word, I wrote this down because I wanted families, but when it comes right down to it, I think it's like, I want parents to understand that as educators, whether it's elementary, middle school, high school, and now even in college, that we're all working to have their children be successful in school, and that things don't always, certain things don't go right, but to understand that we all have the best interests of their child in mind when we're working with them.
Beautiful wish. Well said, Jeff, and thank you for that. It's a hard job, and nobody's perfect there. So well said, Jeff. Jeff, anything you want to talk about before we get to rapid fire here?
Just that again, I just want to emphasize that we are the New England League of Middle Schools, but, we want to be able to, work with people who are outside of New England. It's just a name that we've had for 50 years, but that our reach can extend beyond New England, and that we would welcome people to come to our conference from anywhere. We'd love to have people come from Canada to our conference, because it is that good of a conference. It's a regional conference, but I think we have just a great selection of keynote speakers, concurrent sessions. As you mentioned at the beginning, we have more than 70 concurrent sessions. We have great exhibitors and very positive. They're supporters of middle level education. Beyond New England, or New England beyond. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or to go to the NELMS website, and you can get my telephone number or email me at any time, and be willing to answer any questions that anyone would have.
It's going to be a great event. It's March 24th, 25th, Springfield, Mass. And like Jeff said, not just New England, but surrounding areas. So let's get those fannies in the seats, and we'll have a great time there. Again, a lot of people watching, jump in the chat. So great to have so many friends from different parts of the country around. And yeah, Nathan, the Life Touch sponsor there.
Oh, Nathan's great. I
yeah.
love Nathan Pierce. He's a great guy, great supporter, has great ideas, and looking forward to seeing him. I just saw him at a conference recently, and looking forward to seeing him again.
His accent's a little thicker than yours, and you know, he might need a translator from time to time, but that's okay. We still love him. Yeah. All right, Jeff, let's get to rapid fire. These are quick answers. This is going to bring us down the stretch. This is a 2-minute warning. You can run over to the sideline, get the play, and take some shots at the end zone. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Last book you read.
I get two I want to mention. I have The Trust Imperative by Andrew Dolph. He's a superintendent in Yarmouth, Maine. It's a great read about ethical leadership, empathy, and integrity. I would recommend it to anyone. The Trust Imperative. Then also Young Adolescents in Middle Schools I Need by Dr. Dave Brown. He's a retired college professor. He is on the board of directors of New England League of Middle Schools. He's the executive director of the Vermont Association for Middle Level Education. Great researcher, and I would recommend it for anyone who is working or wants to work in the middle level.
Great answers there. Good stuff, Jeff. Afterwards, put those links in the show notes so people can get them, as well as Coach Silver's book. What was it? On my way. What happened to me on my way to the Eiffel Tower?
He just asked me to look through it. It's in draft form, so I'm really hopefully helping him out with that. But again, yeah, if anything happened on the way to the Eiffel Tower, is another one that I would recommend.
Well, you connect me there. We'll get Coach Silver on here. Last movie you saw?
A Complete Unknown. Bob Dylan, the biopic, was unbelievable. It was a phenomenal movie.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's what I want to hear. I need that. Last concert you went to?
The last concert I went to is Gordon Lightfoot, and he just unfortunately passed away, I think, within the last year. And love his music and the music of Harry Chapin. But good. It was a great concert. It made me wish I had seen him 25 years ago.
Oh, beautifully said there. Favorite place to travel?
Whistler Blackcomb. That's a ski resort, or it's a 4-season resort out in British Columbia. If I had one place I could go on vacation, it would be to Whistler. But also, I'll be honest with you, going back to Madison, South Dakota to visit friends in my school would be a favorite place to go.
I think it was minus 40 degrees in Dakotas the other day. So you like the cold places, man.
Oh my God, it was cold there. Yeah.
And you're in beautiful Maine yourself there now, Southern Maine, beautiful. NELMS is fill in the blank.
It's after 50 years, it's still a great organization working hard to support the needs of middle-level educators and providing support for middle-level students.
Beautiful. Attending the NELMS Conference, fill in the blank.
Is a great idea. It's a great conference.
Awesome. Who's your athletic team? You mentioned the Sox. You're a football guy. Who's your team?
Well, I've always I've been a Patriots fan, a Red Sox fan, Celtics fan, and Bruins fan my whole life.
All of them.
Yeah, it's great. Love to see them being successful.
They've been
even though the Red Sox and the Patriots have struggled the last few years, and it's frustrating, will still root for them every single game.
100%. Who did you watch the documentary? When the Yankees were going to sweep them, and it turned around when they beat. Did you watch that?
I did, and actually, I got emotional at the end of the documentary when they were talking about what Tim Wakefield meant to them. And I know that he had passed away in the last year and a half, and what he meant to those guys was so unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, It was a great documentary.
It was a great, and I told my Yankee fan friends, like my mom and my sister, it was a great thing. And they respectfully portrayed the Yankees too. It wasn't that they
Absolutely.
were
Yeah.
digging on the Yankees.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was
And I
great.
tell you, my best friend in college, the one that I met that first day, he was from Iowa, but he's a huge Yankees fan. So we're always kind of still going back and forth.
We got them all over the place, Jeff.
Yes. Hmm.
Don't make me break out my Mets hat too. 1986. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring up bad vibes, Jeff. In 2025, I will fill in the blank.
I'm still going to work hard to continue to improve my every day as a person.
I love it. Look at the growth mindset here. I love it. In 2025, I will stop fill in the blank.
I will stop complaining because there are people who are in California right now that are struggling. There are people from the Carolinas down to Florida, and different places that who are in far worse place than I am right now. So when I complain about the little things, I got to remember there are people out there who are struggling a lot more than I am.
Beautiful answer there. Bill Belichick is fill in the blank.
Still a good coach.
I like the Chapel Bill shirts down there in North Carolina.
But how long is he going to stay?
Hey, man, he's going to make an impact there for sure. If you weren't an educator, what field would you be in?
That's a good question. I wasn't sure how to answer that. I was thinking I think I'd like to be a judge because I think I can be fair and judge people and make good decisions on, if someone, whether they're guilty or innocent. And so I think I'd like to be a judge.
A lot of parallels making school decisions. You got to follow the rules, the state rules, what's morally right. You have to follow those.
Be ethical.
We just nicknamed my wife the judge. That's her new nickname in the house. She doesn't love it, so hopefully she's not watching. Jeff, you shared a lot of passions of yours. Certainly you have a passion for NELMS and the work you're doing there. Middle school. What's a pet peeve of yours? What's something that gets under your skin?
Oh, wow. There's probably a lot of things, but people who don't use their directionals. I get so frustrated with I just want to tell them, I want to pull up beside him and say, hey, something is wrong with your blinkers. You need to get them fixed.
What's a recent victory for you?
A recent victory. We just at NELMS, we have student leadership conferences. We had 2 great student leadership conferences, and they were facilitated by our assistant executive director, Tim Allen, and by the chair of the board of directors, Pete Gillen. And they were awesome. And we're looking to even hopefully expand them to maybe a couple different sites. We have one and they're both in October. One was at Southern New Hampshire University up in just outside of Manchester. And the other was at American International College in Springfield.
Nice.
They were great. They were, oh my gosh, I was so inspired by the work of those 2 guys. And the work that they did with the 125 and pretty close to 100 kids that we had at both sites.
Got to reach those kids for sure. Jeff, 8 a.m., the day after the conference, the Wednesday after the conference, 8 a.m., what do you want to be feeling? What do you want to be doing?
I want to be reflecting upon the great things that happen in the conference and how I can continue to help to make it a better conference the next year.
It's already planning for the next year.
Absolutely.
I love it. Is there something about Jeff Rodman that people do not know about?
I love to go to the movies, and whether old movies, new movies, I love to watch movies. And I'm not sure if everybody knows that about me. I get emotional. Like watching shows, TV shows. I think I'm an emotional guy.
Yeah, I'm a crier too. I love it. I love it. That's the passion. You got passion for it, for sure.
Mhm.
Jeff, I'm a quote guy. Give me one that you'd like to end the show with.
Can I give you three?
Yeah, listen, man, it's your show. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, number one, if as I learned as a middle level principal administrator, if serving is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. And another one is that's from the servant leadership.
Yeah.
The good and the great are only separated by their willingness to sacrifice. And that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Beautiful.
And one that actually kind of comes from me is that I've often had superintendents or talk about improving student achievement is a quote that I often hear. And I think that's the words are right, but to me, they're in the wrong order. It's not just about improving student achievement, but it's about achieving student improvement. And to me, that means we're looking at the whole child and the whole student, where improving student achievement just focuses on, academic achievement, where I think we need to look at the whole student and achieving student improvement, which would include academics, includes the social emotional part, the behavior and emotional piece to that. So to me, it's kind of my own quote. It's not just about improving student achievement, it's about achieving student improvement.
Great answer there. What a great way to end the show. Friends, this is Jeff Rodman. Check him out at NELMS website. Check out the conference there. It's in March. It's going to be a great event in Springfield, Mass. Jeff, thanks for a few minutes today.
Andrew, thank you for having me on, and I hope that that people continue to work at being, great educators. And if there's any way that I could help out, I'd be honored.
Jeff, this is podcast 311. I don't know what your number was at Dakota State, but they retired it. I'm going to retire podcast number 311. How about that?
How about 31? That was my number.
Oh my God! What a connection! Holy cow!
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was great, and hope I was able to answer the questions that you provided.
And you're a tech guru too. You fixed the internet. It's perfect.
I was nervous.
Jeff Rodman, everybody from NELMS. We're gonna have a blast at the conference. Jeff, you stay on the line for a second, and friends, thanks for tuning in. Keep surviving and thriving, and certainly, again, we hope to see you at the conference. Jeff, thanks, my friend.
Thank you very much.
All right.